What's going on, guys? It's Frito here for your Overwatch. You might have thought that teamwork was going away in Overwatch 2. Well, turns out the pros, and specifically the Dallas Fuel, have pioneered a style that is very reminiscent of the old two-tank playstyle using Reaper in the main tank position. He has so many attributes that allows him to play aggressive and dominate the front line, enabling a Zarya all the way. So we'll break down all of that and more right after this quick message. Today's video sponsor is Skillshare. Skillshare is great because you can take classes from actual industry experts on so many areas. You may have noticed that in recent videos I've been green screened in. That's because by using Skillshare, I've been learning how to upgrade my content. I knew nothing about using OBS, a program that everyone else knows how to use apparently. And it was this class right here that taught me not only how to green screen myself in the recording, but more importantly to me, how to avoid common pitfalls, how to test it and tweak it and improve it a little bit in ways that normally you just don't get taught unless it's by an expert. Skillshare is ad-free and they add new premium classes every week. No matter what you're into, Skillshare is all about upgrading you. Whether you want to really master one skill or survey around the big catalog of classes that they have. The first 1,000 of you that click the link in the description or use my code YOUROverwatch will get a free first month of Skillshare. Take our link, check out Skillshare, and start upgrading yourself today. Now, these first few clips, we're going to look at the basics of the ability cycle that makes this team comp work. The Reaper is going to shadow step in as deep as possible in positions you're used to main tanks playing, holding corners, going aggressive, being right at the enemy in order to lure aggro onto him and receive a bubble holding his position, possibly even two bubbles usually, and then once he gets forced out, Wraith form away, having Shadow Step ready and waiting for the next bubble rotation to go in and do it again. You see the Dallas Fuel working the Toronto Defiance frontline repeatedly like this until they get Hanbin to have energy. That's the trick. And all the while, the Winston-based team is wondering what to do. And they don't really have a great option. Even though kills are getting traded out here, the Winston doesn't have a lot of great plays to make because Reaper has been reworked quite a bit to be a tank buster yet again, now that there's only one tank. The Winston keeps getting forced back and feels the need to have to bubble defensively here. But the problem is, one bubble for the Winston, two bubbles for the Zarya. The Reaper comp can back out with Wraith form, wait this out, get their bubbles back, and the Winston's left what to do. I've got my bubble over here, here over there. So how does the Winston type comp get value? And before you know it, the next Reaper engage is right in your face, getting ult charge, getting charge for the Zarya. And one of the best things I think you can do is go aggressive with the Winston, but by the time the Zarya has energy, well, then you're diving into a high beam charge damage Zarya as well as a Reaper, and you're just going to get minced for doing that. So Toronto learns the hard way the strength of this team comp there. This next segment shows what makes this comp so devastating and what makes Dallas so good at it. They always operate within the line of sight of the Ana player, who of course is potentially the strongest character in the game on that patch, with Ana nades and Nano to bail him out and a heal line of sight, while the Reaper's constantly getting back to full HP. And then also, Hanbin, looking in the front line, is always there to assist the Reaper, often giving him two bubbles, not even using one for himself because the Reaper's going so aggressive in that main tank playstyle. We'll play this out slow so that we can see what the heck's going on, but it is quite impressive what Dallas are able to do. And you'll notice this on all their engages that they set up with the Ana and the Zarya, and able to give their abilities to the Reaper so he can go main tank crazy on them. And honestly, the Death Blossom is quite a devastating ult now, and reminds kind of in that tanking style where he's going to be able to life leech. He gets the nade that is going to amplify his own lifesteal healing, and he has extra health himself and all these other pocket abilities on top of him. He's a big raid boss that's very hard to take down, and you still have your own normal tank pick. Another example for you showing the flexibility of this team comp, they're going to start off here by deciding to shadow step directly onto the enemy soldier who looks to be somewhat isolated. You just see the brazenness of these TPs, knowing he's going to get the bubble throughout the teleport and then gets right on the soldier. And if his aim was a bit better here, probably does land that kill. Look how low the soldier went. So that would have won the team fight possibly right there. But look at the line of sight. The Ana is ready on the retreat, and Hanbin with the second bubble now bails out the Reaper. So no amount of the enemy focusing the Reaper is going to kill him. Between the lifesteal and the pocketing, he's just too tanky. And then now, what they're able to do is choose with a bit of Zarya energy in tow, setting up more map, because all the while, like, their enemies peeling back in order to react. Now they have the ability to launch at a different fight. They're able to get a crossfire onto the Zarya and just fully bulldoze her over. Having that Reaper in the face aggressively is going to be able to take out a lot of tanks, which means it's similar to like your Rhine pinning the enemy Rhine out of the way by marking him. And when you have the Reaper in the front line that way, because he's such a tank buster, he's able to force the frontline fight to be a win for you, even though your Zarya is slow and can't get after it. The truth is, a lot of teams have been trying this Zarya team comp, but it hasn't been working with other DPS picks. Like the Echo seems too slow and obvious where it's coming from. Reaper, I think, has a new term you might apply to him as a initiator DPS, where he has the movement ability to straight up go at the front line immediately with that shadow step, receive those cooldowns from his team, and establish that frontline position with the enemy not really having a chance to respond. If the enemy attempts to put too many cooldowns into him, well, other members of the Dallas Fuel get space out of it. So either the Reaper kills you, or his team will, or the Zarya gets too much charge. There's many ways for this comp to win, which makes it so exciting. We've been watching Dallas play this team comp for the last few weeks. They got destroyed in the first week before they really specialized in this, and then have been steamrolling everybody they come up against. In this match right here on Midtown, Edison is going to mark the rotations in the same exact way you would expect a Winston to in a double bubble comp from Overwatch 1, where his goal here is to try to meet the full 5 enemies into a choke, fight in that close range spot, and receive that double pocket from his team, inflicting damage all the way and punishing them from being able to get out. There's a big shotgun waiting around the corner, very similar to a Rhine hammer, that would punish you for trying to escape a choke in Overwatch 1. It's a really devastating way to play, and it's hard to know what teams can do in order to counter it, because the flexibility of the Zarya bubbles means that whether the Zarya needs it or a different teammate needs it, they have enough defenses to peel, but also have an outrageous amount of attacking as well. Now I'll show a few clips of me trying to emulate this playstyle. One thing that I want to say about Reaper is that he is a bit of a challenging pick to get to work with your team if you're uncoordinated, if he doesn't get resources, or if the enemy don't react like this enemy does, where a complete pile driver and helix rocket and more goes into my Wraith form, which means that the enemy peels back for my team to push forward. That's the ideal nature of Reaper going this aggressive, that you can kind of play mind games with the enemy as you're fainting and engage. Like, I don't even really shoot at anybody in that first clip, but you're going to find a lot of purchase in Overwatch 2 as this initiator DPS tanking style to count the enemy's cooldowns and attention towards you. Even just pulling line of sight, ammo, or abilities into you as a tank, or the initiator DPS, means it's not hitting more squishy members of your team. At the end of the day, Overwatch 2, just like Overwatch 1, is a hero shooter, and those abilities are everything. It isn't just a game about headshots. The other thing that makes this feel like a main tank playstyle is that Reaper often already in Overwatch 1 felt kind of similar to a main tank. You just also had 2 tanks anyway. But what you want to do with him is, because they increased his spread, making him what we thought was a lot worse. Like, Tracer and Reaper got some significant nerfs in the alpha because they were performing so well, but Reaper's still performing as long as you get him in extreme close range. You're going to find that his damage is very unimpressive, almost to the point where you feel like you're throwing and incapable of building ult or doing anything meaningful unless you go full commit feed mode into the enemy. You have to be extremely bold and willing to hit your shots to life leech yourself out of dangerous positions to play this character. I'll be interested to see how Blizzard ends up balancing this, because in one hand, it's making the DPS category have a lot of power and quite an easy pick, I think, but is it something the community would appreciate, because it does take so much teamwork and actually game sense to get this to work. I don't think the kills Reaper gets feel easy, but it's a lot of guaranteed frontline pressure damage. And while if you hit your shots, you can win some duels, I think he's most devastating at fending off the Giga tanks in 5v5. Having a DPS that can go toe-to-toe with a tank is kind of outrageous value. And what you'll notice in your ranked games is that Reaper will struggle to mark a lot of the carry DPS that exist. And oftentimes, from the DPS position in solo queue, the only way to win is to pick something that kills them, because they're going to kill your whole team. But the interesting thing is Reaper gets better at higher levels of play, where the positioning is so much more secure. There's less opportunities for the enemy's DPS to find anything, because most of the team is hiding away, especially supports around power positions, getting self-healing and whatnot. So that's why it's the onus of the Reaper player to go in aggressive, because you have to have the enemy playing on the back foot. Otherwise, there will be those lanes for them to fight your team. Unless they full dive you, then you can just shoot Winston in the face and it's easy. Guys, that's everything for the Reaper main tank playstyle in Overwatch 2. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Should Blizzard make more characters that fit this archetype to maintain that traditional Overwatch 1 style team comp formation? Or is Reaper a bit too strong when coordinated in this way? Be sure to check out Skillshare in the description. The first 1,000 of you that click on the link will get a free month of Skillshare. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. We'll see you guys next time.